Hello everybody, this is Road to Recovery, and this channel is dedicated to online pornography addiction and recovery. Today we're going to be talking about persistence. As I like to say, persistence isn't resistance. It's a much better word actually. Persistence implies that you have a game plan. Persistence implies that you have goals. On my 4 Steps videos, I talked about the importance of goal setting, and when I did that, it was in the framework of setting goals for yourself so that you would be able to have an idea about what recovery looks like for you, because everybody's addiction is just slightly different, even though we have the same addiction cycle. Those goals were self-defined, and they were giving you targets for your own recovery. The goals that I'm going to be talking about today are more of the day-to-day tasks that you set for yourself. And the reason why that's important is because every single time you go, throughout your day, you're going to be encountered with, intrusive thoughts. So resistance would be fighting against those intrusive thoughts. It's not a bad idea, right? But more importantly is, what are you doing throughout your day to help keep your mind on task? And that implies that you have a game plan throughout your day, right? That you've thought about what you're going to do today. So if you're in the middle of washing dishes and the next thing you got to do is, go, change the laundry or whatever, well, those are tasks that you have to accomplish, right? So if you're doing those things, you're not looking at pornography, right? I hope the answer is yes. So, we have to talk about persistence in the framework of how you're going to be going about your day-to-day activities. I'd like to talk to you today about SMART goals. SMART goals are really important in that they help define a framework by which you can look at a task or a goal and say to yourself, yes, this is something I should be taking on. So what does SMART stand for? It's an acronym. The S stands for specific. So specific means that you have a very finite target that you want to improve on, right? So, a specific goal for me might be, oh, you know what? I really want to get better at meditating. I can only last 5 minutes right now. So that's specific. That's saying that it's a tangible thing that I can look at, say, I'm doing this right now and I want to improve at. And even if I wasn't doing it, let's just say I wanted to start meditating. Well, meditating is a very specific thing. It implies that there is a unique activity that's going on. Measurable is the next one, so that's the M in SMART. Measurable means that you're able to quantify this task in some regard. So I had mentioned before with meditation, I'm saying, hey, I'm doing 5 minutes right now. I want to work my way up. So how can I make it to 10 minutes? So there I have a very specific framework that I can set. Maybe I can start setting my stopwatch and, saying, hey, I've got 5 minutes going on. Let's see if I can last 7. Let's see if I can make it to 10 by the end of the month. So now I'm putting a tangible framework around this that's going to be able to measure exactly how I'm doing. A stands for assignable. So in this specific framework, we're talking about ourselves, always ourselves. So if we're talking about doing taxes and we want to, give it off to a tax expert, that doesn't really, count. We want to think about the tasks that are going to occupy our time. So A should always be you. It's not A, it's actually you. So assignable is the you part of this thing. So realistic means that we can't think of things that are far-fetched. So if I said to myself, you know what, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the month. Well, unless I hit the lottery or come up with a really good whiz-bang idea in the next few days, ain't gonna happen, right? So realistic, you have to operate in a realistic framework for all of your goals and tasks that you're doing. So like, let's just say, for example, that you're an avid jogger and you're trying to get under a 10-minute mile. Well, that may actually be very realistic, right? That's something that you can definitely work on. It sets a time component to your to your goal, and it's also something that's quite achievable, especially if you're already a disciplined jogger. And then T stands for time related. So as you might imagine, you can set goals all day, but if you don't execute on the goal, well, then it wasn't really a goal. It was kind of a wish. So time related specifically says, when can I achieve this goal? So now you're forcing all these ideas that you have onto paper, or maybe it's a digital PDA or your smartphone, but you're forcing them into a calendar someplace and saying, I will do this now, or I will do this in 2 days. So the time component is actually the most important part, because everything else, if you're just doing SMAR, it's just wishful thinking until you get to the T. Persistence is your ability to stay on task. It's more than just a mindset. It's actually a skill set that has to be honed. And if you haven't done so already, I really recommend reading Cal Newport's book on deep work. More than any other book I've ever read, that book actually talks about the cognitively demanding tasks that are, every single person has to go through. And it's specifically geared towards folks who would be like engineers and, scientists, people that really have to dig their hooks into really tough tasks to be able to execute them. But built around the entire thing, he talks about that doing task work is a skill set, and that if you really want to get good at something, you have to be able to sit down and grind it out, and you have to be able to do it over long periods of time. So the idea is that your brain is going to improve on efficiency. So as you become more and more persistent at something, you get good at being persistent. Tell me that doesn't work in your favor, right? Especially for people who have pornography addiction. So we need to learn how to be persistent, and by executing, smart goals, we get better at doing tasks, and we become more efficient at doing those tasks, which keeps us further and further away from the source of our addiction. So there's definitely a lot to be said about persistence. If you haven't set goals yet, I really recommend you start out with a piece of blank paper and you start writing them all down. Same thing goes with your daily tasks. Write down all of the tasks you think you have to complete. Then bring out your day planner or bring out your digital calendar. Start giving those tasks a very specific time that you're going to do it. Maybe that's a task that's repeatable. If it's going to be jogging, you're going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you're going to do it Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Whatever that framework is, go ahead and get it down. You can always modify these things. And so, get your brainstorming started. Once you've got all those things fleshed out, don't be afraid of just being able to correct things as you go, or being able to drop tasks out and being able to put new tasks in. So no one says that you have to be rigid in your task making, but you should be rigid in trying to make sure that you're executing as much as you possibly can throughout the day. So, man, you know what? I'm filling up my calendar with all these things that aren't fun activities. No, put some fun activities in there. Give yourself an out, but make sure that out is productive. Maybe it's going to go fishing. You know what? If you're out fishing, you're not looking at pornography. Maybe that's going to do some bowling. Hey, you know what? If you're bowling, you're not doing pornography. Give yourself some downtime, but make it constructive downtime. It could even be something as simple as reading a book. I need to read this book. I've got the SLA guidebook, and I'm struggling at it. I can never seem to get through this stupid thing. Well, you know what? I need to schedule some more time to do that, and that's probably what I'm going to do the second I get off of this video. So think about all the tasks you've got lined up, and then go ahead and start assigning dates to these, and then hopefully over time you're going to see that your persistence gets better and better. I know in my situation that my persistence on doing things, man, off the charts. When I get my mind into something, I go through it. And I'm telling you, man, it takes practice, it takes discipline, but that's what you're building up right now, and that's why you're listening. Hope you found this beneficial. Have a good day, guys.